Well, I'm Karina Sarmiento, and a human rights activist and a social innovator from Ecuador. Since I can ever remember, I've been doing things with people to promote human rights. In the school, being the president of the secondary school movement, and then a book donation campaign at the university, a physical theater group for women to promote women's rights in Ecuador. And then I working with communities, with local authorities, with, I don't know, with everyone that I could to promote women's rights, children's rights, and combat human trafficking. But it was in 2006 that I started being part of the refugee rights movement. A refugee is a person who has to get out of his country or her country and arrive to a new one without hardly knowing anything about this new place and having been a victim or a survivor of many human rights violations. Women's survivors of sexual violence, children escaping forced recruitment, I don't know, people that have to flee because of their sexual identity, of their sexual orientation, human rights defenders that have been criminalized. You can name these stories, and I'm sure you know many more. The first time I met a refugee community was in the northern border of Ecuador. It was this community besides the river San Miguel, the northern border with Colombia. It was a community, a very remote community in the Sucumbíos area, that's with the Putumayo area in Colombia. And they were a community of 30 families. 80% of these families were Colombians. There were approximately 120 persons. 80% were Colombians, and they were refugees. No one of them knew that they were refugees. And they didn't went out of their community ever. They have been there for a long time. During 2006 and 2008, I visited approximately 30 communities along the river San Miguel, Putumayo, and the northern border with Colombia on the coast area. I work with them, things like Know Your Rights workshops, building up community appraisals, building up strategies to get them out of this situation. And many of them, luckily, were able to get direct dialogue with the authorities. And this led me, by 2008, be part of Asylum Access. I'm very proud of being part of this organization because I share with them its philosophy of change. Currently, I am the regional director for Latin America. Asylum Access is an organization that works to make refugee rights a reality. We worked in 8 local offices in Ecuador, Mexico, and Panama. We are 30 people as staff and around 20 people as volunteers. I'm in charge of making or taking over the organization growth in the strategy of direct legal services, strategic litigation, community empowerment, advocacy. What is the average time a refugee person has to wait to be recognized as refugee? In most countries, it's around 1 year, but it could be more. And many people, many refugees, while they are waiting for a refugee status, they are not allowed to work. What do they do if they are not allowed to work? In Ecuador, we have 64,000 refugees recognized by the Ecuadorian government, but many others that are still in process. 98% are Colombians. And every month, according to the government, we receive 1,000 applications of refugees' requests. In Mexico, civil society organizations believe that 50% of all people crossing the southern border require international protection. That is to say, 60,000 persons per year. In the whole region, we have 385,000 people requesting asylum or refugees from all over the world. From Colombia, yes, from Honduras, from El Salvador, from Guatemala, from Venezuela, from Syria, from many countries from Africa. So that's why Asylum Access is there, to make refugees' rights a reality. We are the only international organization that works in refugee rights in the first country of asylum. And what we want is that refugees get back the power to be able to do or to claim for their rights themselves. We have provided in the last year 6,000 services for refugees. But what does it mean? It means, for example, that Laura, a single mother with two girls, the three of them, survivors of sexual violence, have been able to shorten the time period to wait for a request asylum in a period of 6 months by being provided legal services. It means, for example, that Maria, a woman that worked in a cafeteria for 1 year alone, has been able to get her salary, pay, and her social security also recognized by the government. It means, for example, that Laura, that has get a work permit to be able to have her little car of roasting chickens to sell in the streets with permits and all the legal, making her business legal in Ecuador, and reducing, of course, therefore, all the harassment that she might have to do that. But we also work with governments, and we want the governments to be part of the movement and be part of the solution. In the last year, or in the last few years, we have been able to build up an incredible coalition of civil society organizations. We are more than 150 organizations from Mexico to Argentina, including the Caribbean. And we've been able to go to the Inter-American Commission to push forward in the agendas the issue of refugee rights. And we are doing that as well now in UNASUR, SICA, and Mercosur. These are 3 regional political instances in the region, but very important to put forward policy change. Besides everything, although we do a lot, we need more people to be part of the movement. And that's why Asylum Access promotes this volunteer advocacy program. We have, in every year, we have approximately 40 people coming to be part of our team. But we need also organizations to be part of the movement. And that's why we have created a refugee rights toolkit. I really would like to push you or to invite you all to put into your agendas the idea that refugee rights are part of all human rights. It's not that difficult. Thank you.